Hi, welcome to Cogent Radio's group. I'm going to do a review today. My name is Frank Sellers. I'm the owner of Cogent Radio's group, and I'm doing a review on a Hytera PNC360S. And I can tell you, having over 40 years experience in the communication field for this radio for what it does, it is built really nice. As you can see to my right here. It shows a picture of the PNC360S, and we're going to cover some of the features and durability. I've been using one for about a month now, on and off, in harsh conditions, and I'm not easy on my equipment. They usually bounce off my hip when I have them clipped on, and I'm bending over, and they end up falling on the ground and just scooting across the floor in the shop. But it's held up really well. I have no complaints as far as the durability goes on a PNC 360S. The functionality of it is more than what most people will probably use this for. And as far as I've reviewed other talk radios, push to talk over cellular, and I can tell you that this is definitely an upgraded mil spec, some mil spec ratings on this device. This is definitely top of the line equipment. It really is. It has all the features you would expect, including groups and selectivity, but we're going to run through some of those here in a bit. So one of the things I want to cover first is that you'll see advertisements. I'm not going to mention any names, but you'll see advertisements of free nationwide radio, free this, free that, free. It's not free. Okay. If you do your research on specific brands that are promoting I think it's a false advertising. They're promoting that it's free. That's not the case. There's always a cost associated with it. And what you're doing is you're actually paying up front for those services to where they can offer it free for a year. Okay. Is it really free? No, you paid for it up front. After a year, you're going to be asked to continue a service. And some of those services are up to $50 a month. Okay. And if you don't sign up for that service, then you're stuck with a device that doesn't work. It has no application. This actually, so to break this down, how this actually works is this creates a digital stream. Okay, it's all digital. Your voice, you talk into it, and it goes into a server, and that server will allocate that transmission to whatever group you're in, whatever features you're using, and who you want to speak to. It connects you to them. So it works over digital and its own server. Now, having said that, it utilizes a SIM card. And a SIM card is the same thing that would go into a telephone. And those have reoccurring fees with it. Although these devices utilize the cellular networking and can give you nationwide coverage. As a matter of fact, these actually work in Canada, Mexico, Guam, Hawaii, Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico for communication purposes. And it's just amazing the coverage that these things have. But if you see an advertisement that says, "Hey, we have these nationwide coverage radios and they're free," that's not true. That's not true. You're paying for the cost up front, and then after a year or maybe 2 years, depending on what the dealer is telling you, you're going to end up with a fee. Okay, and unless you sign up for that fee, then you're going to have a useless device sitting around. That's not going to do any good if you don't sign up for it. Plus, in addition to that fee, they may or may not include the cost of the SIM chip. So to give you an example, these come with a 500 megabyte SIM. So I make a transmission. I call my wife or I call my boss or whatever on this thing, and that'll use about 53 kilobyte of data. Okay, it doesn't consume much at all. The 500 meg will last you quite a bit. And that's what comes with these devices, and they're prepaid. And obviously, when it runs out, they have to be refilled, which is easy enough to do. Just get a hold of me. I'll take care of all of that for you. Anyway, back to the review. They come with a heavy duty clip on the back, and it holds really well. And like I said, I'm tough on my equipment, and it's held up really nice. Let me see if it's got the lock screen mode on currently, but there are also different modes that you can get into. So, audio quality, wonderful. Okay, the audio in this sounds just as good as bigger devices with bigger speakers in it, and the quality in this is good. It's just as good, if not better, if you put your speaker on your cell phone, whatever device it is that you have. The selectivity and the user friendliness of the software, which this is on a Horizon platform, is very easy to use. All the behind scenes stuff, setting up the groups and permissions and that kind of thing, that's all what I do. So if you were to purchase some of these from me, I would get a hold of you and say, hey, what do you want to do with these? And then I would set you up accordingly. And there's always room for adjustment. You can call me up at any time and say, hey, I want to change my name, or I want to change one of my employees' names, and or a new employee was assigned the device. So that's easy enough. You won't have to worry about that. Cogent Radios Group, myself, or some of the techs will assist you with that and handle all of that for you. As far as if you can surf and get around a cell phone with the apps in it, then you can very easily use one of these. It's a no-brainer. And the software that runs these things is phenomenal. It's very user-friendly. It has certain cues. It lets you know when you're in a group, and certain sound responses that you get used to after a while, that the sounds within themselves, they call them cues, will tell you what's going on. For example, if you transmit, you hear a beep. If the other station doesn't transmit or transmits, you hear a beep from them when they're done. You hear when the group shuts down. It's just, they're nice features to have, which can all be shut off if you don't want to listen to them or utilize that feature. They are nationwide coverage, and they work great. I've been using these from Tennessee to Virginia. No problem at all. So even at one bar, so try to use your cell phone when you're at one bar. Okay. These things still function 100% at one bar. I still get the message through, and it's never been an issue. Plus, they make mobile devices that you can put external antennas on your vehicles, which would even increase and make the connection rate to LTE, which uses the cellular network like T-Mobile or AT&T. And if you've got good phone coverage, you will not have a problem with these. If you're in the middle of a Nevada desert, if you're in the middle of Death Valley, well, these probably won't work for you, okay? Unless you have, and one of the good features about these is that they have Wi-Fi connectivity. So you can hook this up to a Wi-Fi and still use it on nationwide level, or, Canada, Mexico, Guam, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands. So if you're in the middle of nowhere, Death Valley, okay, and you have Starlink, you hook this to your Wi-Fi, and you can still communicate with these, whereas the competition really doesn't have that feature. Okay, you're paying much more for them than you should be. So let's see. Let's move on to the slides here. They're very cost effective. They've got a lot of features. I'm very impressed with these. This is probably the best POC radio that I've had with the support network, with the company is stand up. They're doing the right thing. Um, you can't go wrong with these. You really can't. So let's cover a few aspects of where you would use these. Okay, so you can use these for family. You can stay in touch from New York to California, and the other areas, regions we discussed. These are great for fleet management. Let's say you've got a fleet of 4, 5, 10, 15, 20, 100, 500 service vehicles, and you want to stay in touch with people, and you can utilize this in lieu of your employees using their cell phone. Okay. So if you don't want your business information like PDF files or whatever, and by the way, they make these that are just as good, if not better, with more features on it that you can actually download files, take pictures, and uh, have apps on the device. Kind of like a cell phone, but it's more geared towards work. It's not really for surfing the internet or anything like that. But let's say you're doing a fleet. You have a fleet. You have several individuals that right now are utilizing their cell phones for your business. So they're going to have documents from your business on their cell phones. They're going to have images from your business on their cell phones. Um, and with these devices, and you can't really control what goes on and what they do with that information. I would like to hope everybody has a straight moral compass and leaves the company proprietary information to the company, but we all know that doesn't happen sometimes. Well, this would eliminate that. Okay, so if these devices get assigned specifically to individuals, their name gets programmed into this device. If it's this one or an upgraded version where you can have cameras and documentation and such, then either way, their name gets programmed in here. So when they transmit, you know exactly who it is that's transmitting. Another nice feature of these devices for fleet management is safety aspect. You can control, you can do reminders, take a break every 4 hours driving, speed limit, observation. It'll bring up a warning on whether the speed was exceeded or not in the vehicle. There's so many features of these, not even to mention the Horizon platform, dispatch platform, where you can track all your devices. You can actually see where your employees are and utilize that, and that is very reasonable when it comes to expense. Plus, some good businesses may need a write-off, but yeah, these devices you can track them. It's proprietary information. That's on these, not your business info, and you're spreading it out to everybody's personal cell phone. So that's one aspect of using these for business. So I utilize these. I gave one to my father, and he's up there in age, and all he has to do if something happens is push the button on the side, make sure it's charged up. That's it. Much easier than cell phone trying to find your number, dig through it. This is instant communication, and you get the message. So let's go over these a little bit. They're great for fleet. They're great for family. They're fleet service vehicles. They're great for companies. If you use them in the warehouse, another example would be you go in the warehouse, you have spotty coverage, you hook it up to the Wi-Fi, and it automatically selects. So you go out in the field, and now it'll connect to LTE. When it's out in the field, you go back to the warehouse, spotty coverage, it automatically transitions to Wi-Fi. If you have any questions on these, please feel free to put them in the comment section down below, and I'll respond to them as soon as I can. So the voice quality on these is amazing. The audio output on these, they're made great. If you're in a high noise environment, they make headsets that apply to these, both Bluetooth and wired. So you can utilize it that way. Dispatching app, we covered that. They're very compact, and like I said, they're very rugged. Okay, some of these have a mil spec rating or an IP67 rating for moisture proof, moisture resistant. I don't think unless it's military grade specific for a SEAL team or something that it would be waterproof. It's moisture and water resistant, IP67 rating. Let's go ahead and switch to slides and we'll take a look at what it does, some of the features are. It's got built-in GPS. If your company needs it, this button up top here can be programmed for an emergency call. So a security company, you get out, somebody gets in trouble, they need backup right away or something happens, you just push this button. And if you're using the dispatch software, it'll show you where that individual is and who it is. So that's a very nice feature. Push to talk on the side. It's got a long battery life. I've used one of these, actually this one, for 3 days without charging it, so it does really well. GPS positioning, you can always find where your people are if you need to, including family. If you have an elderly family member that may or may not walk off at times, you can put this on them and you can always find them and talk to them. All right, let's see where we're at here. It's got built-in Bluetooth connectivity. It's got a TFT LCD screen display, as you can see here, and it's pretty easy to read. I mean, I wear glasses. My eyesight's not the best anymore, but you can read that screen really well. Some devices you can receive and send text messages. Obviously, not this one. It doesn't have a text pad on it, but the other devices do. It's all depends on what you need done. There's Android apps that go on here, and they provide specific POC services that you can utilize. Like I said, this is all digital. And one of the things, I'm going to date myself here, but back in during 9/11, when 9/11 happened, I was in law enforcement, and we had the Nextel Sprints. And when the cell phone wouldn't work, the Nextel Sprints would, which is basically the same communications platform that these are on. So those Nextel Sprints were great. They were, I mean, instantaneous. A lot of law enforcement agencies were using those because of the efficiency and the ability of being able to track. Well, since 9/11, our infrastructure when it comes to cellular towers and just LTE networks has exponentially grown, and the technology has. I mean, you can imagine that the technology we have nowadays supersedes whatever it was we had back during 9/11. Anyway, let's move on. These are actually, like I mentioned, mil standard, mil spec. Mil spec rating is a military specified requirement on certain equipment that they get. So it can be shock, vibration, dust, moisture proof. And these are military standard 810H rated for shock and vibration, and it's IP67 rated for water submersion and dust resistant. So these will actually work really well on construction sites, and you shouldn't have a problem. Construction sites, ranches, anywhere there's moisture or dust possibility, and shock, and oil fields even, these will work just fine. It's got emergency safety features, safety alert functions. Like I mentioned, this button up here, the orange one, works great, and it gets you immediate response for its safety backup, whatever it is that you need should something happen. So what I also like about these is you can bring communities together. And one thing that I'm trying to do right now is in Perry County, Tennessee. I put a group on here, which is Perry County All Call, PC All Call. And what that does is everybody that has a device like this in Perry County gets put into that group. So recently they've had really bad storms in the last couple of days. I mean, it's been horrific, and unfortunately, some people have lost their lives in West Tennessee and in the path of the storm, which is horrible. It's horrendous. But these things have a PC all call, so you can get on that PC all call and ask for help if you're stuck in your house, if something happens, or just in general. You can. It's like a party line, basically. But remember, if you key up on the PC all call, it'll show who you are that's transmitting, which can be a good thing or a bad thing. Anyway, I love these radios. They're fantastic. They work great. My family uses them. Let's see, where are we at here? You can actually send an alarm over these. These can be set up so you press this button and the alarm goes out to everybody on that group that you were talking on last, and it also notifies the dispatch center and so forth. If you're a family, obviously you're not going to have a dispatch center um, or access to that unless you want. I mean, it's an extra fee, monthly fee, and it's not that bad. I'd have to look it up. I can't remember what it is. I think it's like $10 or something like that, um, just to have access to the dispatch center so you can track these. Um, let's see what else we have here. The volume control is on the side, and let's cover these. I want to make sure to cover as much as I can about these. This is also the charging port. These will charge to 100%. Navigation, and let's see what the next slide is. Okay, here it shows you some of the dispatch center applications, and you have enough accessories to choose from here where it shouldn't be a problem. It's got some really cool things with it. So here's a ring, that's a Bluetooth. You can connect to it. You can talk through the ring if you want to. The Bluetooth speaker, that's not connected to anything, so you could take this and clip it on your dashboard somewhere and just utilize this speaker microphone. Here's the headsets that I spoke of before. This is not the actual size because I had to shrink this flyer. But these devices are so flexible that they can be used in all of these circumstances. So you have education, security companies, hotels, resorts, general business, property management. Any time you have somebody out in the field or you're in a facility where you have to have communications, this is the way to go. It really is. So I have a security background. And when you go to a facility and they have the radios with them and they communicate, that's all nice and dandy. But let's say one of your security officers or one of your employees goes from the warehouse and goes out to lunch. And they take this radio with them. Well, most radios really don't work more than about 3, 4, 5 miles out unless they're going through a repeater system. Well, this will still work. So it'll switch over to the LTE. They're out at lunch. You need some information. You pick up the radio and call them. So this is a much better solution than regular VHF, UHF radios. Let's say you're in a big box store, okay, and you just need communication on a premises. Then yeah, go with the little FRS radios or business radios, and they'll work for you. But if you're in management and you run a smaller business and you always need to stay in touch with your service personnel or a hotel area, need to get a hold of people that go off premises, this is the solution. It really is. Here's some specifications now that I brought up. I'm going to leave that up a little bit for you techno nerds out there if you want to read this. It's also available online at cogentradios.com and under the white papers or Hytera up in the menu. Thank you for spending your time with me. It's been about 25 minutes. My rating on this device, but is a 5-star. Is a 5-star hands down. I've used it for a month. It works great. Haven't had any problems with it. The groups are wonderful. You can pick out, and you can individually. So here's something nice. So on regular POC radios, when you call somebody, you key it up, and you start talking. Well, that other person may not be. If you call them directly, not let's say not in a group environment, but you want to call somebody directly, which you can do. They need one of these radios. Okay, they radio to radio. These will not work on cell phones, so you cannot call a cell phone with these. Okay, but let's say you want to call another radio individually and in a private conversation, you can ring that person up. Okay, so basically, it would ring their device, and you wait for them to pick up, just like a phone, because they may be in a meeting or something. You don't want to just start talking. Okay. So it has that feature to it, which is pretty slick, I think. Yeah, you can have groups, hundreds of individuals that can have these. And like I said, they're individually assigned. So if you have any questions at all, put it in the comment section below, please. And I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And I have a discount for military, law enforcement, first responders. Okay. In the smaller rural communities, I know that like volunteer fire departments, I know you guys don't have a really big budget for comms, and you might be, in some cases, might be on it by yourself. Okay. Or have to pay for it by yourself. I've got a discount for you, especially in the lieu of all the storms and everything we've been having. I want to make sure that people can stay connected. Okay. And that brings me to another topic is the security of these things. So these are about as secure as a cell phone. Okay. If you have a security company that needs encryption, or you have a company with a lot of proprietary information or national security or something like that, you can actually buy encryption certificates for these, where it would make it very, very, very difficult to intercept the messages. There's a lot of options that go with these. These are made in China, but the platform that they operate on and the sales division and the company is U.S. based. It's the U.S. version of the Chinese company. Okay. So they have to comply with certain specifications, manufacturing laws, FCC requirements. Like I said, these are not your get nationwide coverage for free and never pay a dime, talk all over the place. Yeah, that's not true. Don't fall for that. Okay, that's not true at all. There's certain expenses involved with this, just like a cell phone, but much cheaper than a cell phone unless you buy a burner. So roughly, I think I'm restricted to certain pricing on these devices through the company. They're a great company, and I understand why they do it, but I'm restricted to pricing on these. But I can give breaks on server management, platforms, etc., and so forth. So I have no problem doing that. If you're looking for one of these devices, get a hold of me. You know where to find me at cogentradios.com, and I look forward to hearing from you. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you very much.